I just asked about that.
And if the land goes back to Nicholas, then Nicholas can put it on the market and Dollar General can buy it.
Absolutely. Once he takes it back, it's going on the sale block the next day. I mean, the borough has no second chance at this. Once he gets it back, it's going. You know, and make that perfectly clear.
And
That
so,
property's landlocked, am I
anybody's
What?
basement that gets affected by
There's
development
Mr.
and
Nicholas right
section.
now. Let's ask Mr. Nicholas.
Hello, Mr. Nicholas.
Perfect time.
Sorry, I'm late.
We're talking about the property. I told him I made you aware, we're getting it back. So they're asking questions about the taxes on it, what happens from here, we still have that contract, what do we do? Give it back, because the motion was made last month to give it back and drop the park project. Okay, so.
Yeah, that's your decision. You know, I bought the property for the community. And to make sure that there wasn't a Dollar General with there. That's what I bought it for. Okay. I wanted to give it to the community, and you know, and a few others know that we were told by DEP and the Conservation District not to transfer it right away because it would hurt you for getting grants and stuff at a later date, and they would let us know when the timing was right. And that's why it hadn't been transferred early. You're welcome to give it back. I don't care. I bought it for the community. If the community's gonna give it back, I'm gonna sell it. I don't want it for me. It's no good for me. So, and whoever gets it, they'll do with it what they want.
Well, she was asking about the taxes, if we were still
I paid the
liable.
taxes.
Okay, that's what she
No, I was
was
just
asking.
concerned because of the contract had been voided. Who was, I mean, because I,
Well, I'll pay the taxes, but I'm gonna sell the property, and
That's
then
fair.
whoever buys it will pay the taxes.
no, it's fair.
Right.
If it's Dollar General or if it's something else, whatever it is, if they buy it, they'll pay for it.
That's fair.
I'm not gonna be responsible for who's in there. I bought it to give it to the community. I've told Myron and I've told others, I told Dave, you know, I would stand behind and help you get the park. I've had the DEP there, we met the DEP Conservation District, we had the guy for the wetlands there. I mean, we put some work into this. You know, and I've been trying to help facilitate this as much as possible. You know, I offered to take our excavation equipment and come do the work for the community. You know, I'm willing to stand behind and make this happen. But if the community doesn't want it, it's okay with me. But I'm not gonna pay taxes on a piece of property I don't want, somebody else won't.
Well, don't blame
You
her.
know,
What's
I
the
don't-
reason? What's the reason that the community don't want it? What's the reason that they don't want him to? I'm just asking.
Well, there's a lot of issues that come up.
Yes.
And
It's not that the park isn't wanted, it's how it was being done. And putting stuff out, and can we afford to maintain it in the future? What's it gonna cost? We needed to do things in a different manner.
I mean, he was just said he was willing to back it and help with it. So I don't understand.
There's, where Michelle has the videos for the watchdog, there's a couple of meetings that you would probably be interested in watching.
I was just wondering. I mean, have we ever had a
But wasn't that more
community
to do
center?
with the part that
Have you-
Maryland was giving? Like, I get that Maryland took her land back because there was a lot of discrepancies there. But what does that have to do with ending the whole park? Like, that's where I'm trying to confuse. It kind of seems like people got their panties in a wad and we're like, okay, we're just done. We're not doing the park.
Or is
Like,
it?
we didn't really look at the other aspect of continuing on without that part of the parcel.
Or is it just?
Wasn't the maintenance, the taxes, you know, yep, that was it.
Well,
People coming in for.
there were contracts weren't in line, and there weren't, the old
It's just
contract
like any
wasn't
other land we
done.
own. We own a lot of land. They said we own 7 acres up on the mountain. We paid
Yeah,
someone
but
to
over
over
the money from the charter school fell through.
when Marilyn took her property
Oh,
back.
the concerns that I said.
Yes, it did, but then there was an individual in the borough that stepped up and was willing to pay that engineer to get it developed.
So why didn't?
Right, but I'm
the
sure
borough
there'd be
do
more
something?
costs after that. Right.
There would be costs to maintain the park, but I think our thoughts it would only be a daylight park only.
Which of most are.
Yeah, there would probably be a couple lights put up so we could see if people were in there doing raising age, things like that. But the park would be closed at dark, and there would be very little maintenance to the park once the park was built. What did he call it?
What's the,
It's also not a huge space, but if that space is used by a commercial property, it's going to affect all of your basements and your drainage.
what's the difference if he puts a community park there, or somebody goes down to the ball field and, what's the difference?
Wetlands, if you.
No, that's not what I meant. I'm saying insurance and maintenance, and if that township can, or borough, however you want
The
to put
Lions,
it.
that's the Lions.
If they can maintain that, you're telling me this borough can't maintain 3 swing sets and 2 slides?
Nobody ever thought about it when they talked about the park being built. Nobody ever spoke of.
We weren't doing things in the
Anything like
manner
that.
they needed to be done, and we
So
we were
doing
jumping
cheese
around a
now,
little
they-
backwards.
So
And I
why,
said last meeting, I wanted a park, and I'd be all for doing one if we revamped how we were doing it right. We just had the eggs in the wrong side of the carton, more or less.
So why can't it be brought up to be
so why can't
Revamp
it
park.
be done right then?
First
exactly,
of all, the ball
instead of just
field,
being shoved aside and
doesn't
left
Sam
alone?
Black own that?
Yes,
And he's not willing to part with it.
No.
no,
So that's
no,
a done deal there.
right, yeah, right.
During our research, the wetlands were actually an asset for that park because the man from DEP had looked at it along with the guy that picks out and tells you if it's a wetland or not. And they figured out ways to incorporate that, put signage up, and actually make the wetlands an educational park.
I did not see any
That
cons in
was,
this
that was part of the
situation.
conversation,
Right, right.
so.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said, there's no, where is the cons in this situation at
As
all?
far as Chris, you saying we went about this the wrong way, we had to do it the way we were attempting to do it because you have to have someone come up with a plan, development, and then someone that knows what they're doing to write a grant. And to do that, Gene was willing to hold on to the land. It's ours, but it's still in his name until that grant hit.
I
And all I
opposed it.
asked for was, since I was donating the property, well, Heidi and I, my wife,
Yes.
we were donating the property, as that, since we're willing to help, but all we asked was that there was no reason that we should pay, it's not a lot, it's less than $500 taxes a year.
Right.
But if we're donating the property, why couldn't the borough at least take care of that?
Exactly.
You know, I mean, Dave knows, and several people in here know.
The-
This isn't the first time that we've done something for the community.
Right,
This is the first time we've had to do it out in the open instead of doing it anonymously.
right.
There's a lot of people here know that, there's a lot that don't. This would have been the same way, but it was impossible to do it.
Does anybody know what it costs to maintain the ball field down there, that park?
I don't know if you have a volunteer organization that does it. Lions Club are all volunteers.
So we couldn't organize a volunteer that would maintain
We
that?
have 3 Loganton Borough employees that does our mowing, that kind of whatever needs done throughout the year, that could take care of the park. It's not, I don't see an issue.
I don't either, I'm just trying to
Can
figure out
I
what.
say something?
Yeah,
I was
feel
still through.
I'm like seeing both sides, but like I've been coming to borough meetings since the whole Dollar General debacle. I feel like what is going on here is it's not that people don't want the park. They feel like when you guys formed that committee, it was very not transparent. I feel like it could probably fly if you, committee members, whoever's on that committee, had regular meetings for the public to discuss what's happening within the park. I think people are hearing rumors, this is going in, that's going in, no, we're not doing this. So a lot of the people that come, I mean, I'm here every time, so I'm just taking it all in, are questioning, how are we going to maintain bathrooms? Like, we keep saying we don't have money for the borough. How are we going to keep that money up to maintain what little would be there to maintain? I know you said you have 3 employees, but maybe to make it very transparent as to what you want, how it's going to go about doing it, get input from the citizens, I think it would go a lot better.
And that was all in the plan,
But you weren't expressing that to everyone.
because there was nothing going on.
Yeah.
We were just waiting on him to draw up the plan and
But
then start his
Yeah,
meeting.
but I'm just saying, this is what I'm seeing from both sides. I feel like people are saying, you're not being transparent, you're not being, people aren't being made aware. I know there's a lot of, Gene said, there's a lot of anonymous, whatever the word is, anonymous things that he likes to do. From your end though, we're a borough, we almost have to be, put it all out there. Because if you don't, then people are gonna start questioning, what are you doing, why are you doing this? That's just my thoughts.
I oppose
And I
the
think it would be
park
a wonderful thing.
because from the start, I did not see putting the borough taxpayers on the hook for, what was it, $30,000
Or
that you applied for the grant.
Okay,
But
so,
the
Yeah.
grant would
And-
pay for that.
This is a long
right?
story.
Yeah, is there a guarantee you're gonna get a grant?
No, but you're not gonna.
No, there's not. And
Okay.
that was my whole thing. I didn't want to hang out there if we didn't know if we were going to get it. Gene's contract even said you had to have it by a certain date or it reverted back. You can't guarantee I'm going to have a grant. When they're going to start the process in April, you can't guarantee you're going to have a grant in place by December. And in December, the property reverts back to Mr. Nichols.
So if there wasn't that time frame and there was enough time to find out if the grant would be funded, then the park would fly.
Don't
Did
know.
anybody approach Gene and ask him if he would give him more time if it took a little bit longer than December?
well,
The
not only,
first thing is the date to have it returned or whatever was not by my doing.
right, that was
That was the attorney and you
Yes.
guys doing. That
Yes.
wasn't
so
mine.
my question,
That property is the community's, okay? That's what Heidi and I bought it for, so that you didn't have the Dollar General in your backyard. You didn't have all that, and that the community could have. We don't have anything in this valley. I mean,
Exactly,
It's
that's
gonna be a
exactly-
small park. It's not gonna be the greatest thing in, park in the world, but it's gonna be a whole lot more than what this valley has now,
it,
you know?
This
Well,
valley
nobody's
has
mentioned
very
the
little
elephant in
public
the
space.
These guys know, and I do a lot of things. I don't need somebody to come up and pat me on the back for doing something. And there's quite a few people know several things that I've done. And I want to do it anonymously because I don't want somebody coming. I don't need to know. I know what I do, and that's good enough for me. But in this case, it's impossible. But I will stand behind this part the whole way through and make it happen for this community.
so,
You don't need to worry about if you don't have $30,000 or if you don't have $5,000. You don't need to worry about it. I know where there's a foundation that will put up all the money that's needed.
We've never heard any of this.
We let Myron know that there's organizations that we could go through so the money wouldn't have to come out of the borough, and he wouldn't listen to us.
Well, I don't know anything about that, so I can't speak on that.
But also.
What I do know is that there are procedures and there are times and there are certain applications, and it's a lot of red tape that most people don't realize to get all this done. And
First
in the
of all,
meantime, we were advised by the DEP and the Conservation District not to transfer right away. You guys were there.
Yes.
They told us to hold on. They would let us know when the timing is right, because if it was transferred too early, you couldn't use the value of the property as your portion. You have to put down so much percentage of the project.
Match.
And I think it was
something like that.
20%.
And you could use the value of this property if it wasn't transferred at the wrong time.
Right.
So we pulled back and didn't transfer it and waited, well, we're still waiting for them to give us the actual time when it's most beneficial to the borough or to whoever, okay, to have it in their name and have it as equity that they could use as a match rather than needing to come up with the cash. And that's what it was all about. That's why the transfer's been delayed. You know,
Well, even our own lawyer at the last meeting said he would not sign that contract.
That was because of the other contract.
Yeah. And he had never seen it.
And it's,
So.
So he wouldn't
it's
sign the
just-
second contract because he hadn't seen the first
right,
contract?
he hasn't seen the first one, and then it was canceled. That
Well,
meeting,
I brought it up, the first one was still in effect and we
They
were
were
ready to
almost
sign a
done.
second.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can't do that. You gotta make sure the first one
It's
is
void.
null and void.
So if the grant or whatever was an issue, how do we raise, what was it, $200,000 for the fire company, right? Through the fundraisers and stuff we did? Am I wrong?
What do you mean?
Didn't we have a thing down here at the bank that had a thing saying
Oh.
how much money we were
the
raising or
new
something?
building, yeah,
For the new building.
yeah.
So how much was raised?
I don't even remember any.
It was-
285, I think, something like that.
So if we can do that in this small town, how can we not do that with $30,000?
We probably could, but we didn't even attempt.
And why not? Well, I mean, and I understand that, I guess maybe the borough needs to understand that there's a community outside of the borough that might care about how Loganton looks and whether there's green space in this
that's the only
valley.
thing I asked you for. This is a community.
Community, it's not a Loganton
It's not
park,
a
it's a
Loganton
community
Borough
park.
park. It
Absolutely.
happens to be housed in Loganton.
Right.
That's where the property's at.
Yeah.
But that's the only request I put on, was
Doesn't
this
get
has to
brought up.
be a community park.
Is everybody just gonna ignore what ignited the whole thing and what made everybody so sick?
And what was it?
Yeah.
You and Dave and the whole thing with Maryland is what had everybody upset.
This has nothing to do with
No,
Maryland's property.
His property does not.
That's right. And
But
that's
what triggered the whole thing.
the original plan was to do Jean's property as a park.
Mhm.
And then Maryland come along and decided to give her property.
Let's get the whole history, okay?
Okay,
Because I've been involved.
Okay.
In the beginning. As soon as I approached the people that owned it, I left them know, the night of the meeting of the Dollar General meeting here, I left them know outside that door that they would not be caught with that property. That if it didn't work out, I wasn't gonna pay what Dollar General would, but I would buy that property. Well, after a period of months that they couldn't get it sold, they approached me and we agreed on price and we bought it. After that time period, I called Maryland Scale. Okay, I offered to buy her property to add to it so that the borough would have both properties. And she was considering it. Well then, rather than do that, the decision was made that they were going to donate, or she was going to donate that property to add to the park, and that's what she told me. All right, so that's the whole story. Then, whatever happened, and I have no idea what it was, but the decision was to go back on the donation of to go back on it and not donate the property, which is fine, it's theirs, okay? I would still purchase the property from her and donate it to the community, okay? The benefit of that property is the access off of Anthony Street
and not needing to make it worse for traffic up here on the point.
Right now, your land is landlocked, right?
Oh, no.
You wouldn't be able, or you'd have to go through a process.
We can get off the road anywhere out there, but the problem is, it's not a busy road like
It's just a
we
horrible
know
turn.
busy roads if you go anywhere, but for Sugar Valley, this corner up here in Coughlin's and everything is somewhat of a busy area. So the two choices are you come off across from Coughlin's or somewhere along there, England or property, or you come down there just above the Best House, I don't know who lives there anymore, but there's somebody new moved in there. And there's access there off of Water Street. No, there's easy access to the property. You know, it just would have been beneficial if it wouldn't have made more congestion up there, you know, in that area. That's the only benefit. It would have been very nice.
Just to go my street.
You know, and
Right at my
there's an
house.
there's an alley that goes up that could have been used for the access, and it goes out above, Scaffs and clear out through. There's an alley there now that's seldom used, but that would have all tied together, and that's what I had in the plan when I approached Maryland about buying property and adding it to it. I thought it would enlarge the park, it would make it nice, it would make it better for traffic. But that didn't work out, and that's their decision, but there's no reason the park can't go on.
I agree.
So,
First of all, I'm speaking for, I'm going to say behalf of the borough. Thank you for coming. I have been longing for you to come for months to hear exactly what is going on. Tonight is the first time learning with the deadline. It was, I believe, in the contract, December 31st of 2024. You're saying you had nothing to do with that deadline, that it
no,
was.
that was the
borough and
lawyer
the
or
solicitor?
their wishes. I had nothing to do with that.
We, as a body of council, had no idea that that came from the borough or the solicitor. We all believed it to be your words, those who were not involved in the Park and Rec committee. So the time frame, I think, was fearful. For Mr. Scaff, who would apply for grants, how is that possible to happen in that time frame? Then what's going to happen? It's going to revert back to you, the landowner. So none of this was communicated thoroughly to most members. So thank you for coming
I'm
and
committed
clarifying.
to have the park for the community.
I think that
And,
everyone's in favor
well,
of that.
I think everybody could be in favor of it, hopefully, but I'm committed to make it happen.
That's wonderful to
And
hear.
I have the property and I have the ability to do it.
I think that was another one of the issues.
Transparently, and everybody knows what's
Well,
going
that's up
on.
to you guys.
Yes, see,
I
that's
only
not
know
you.
what I can do and what I'll.
I'd love to see the
Well-
park, but it needs to be done
That was the issue, because
With-
people kept asking
with
Myron about
more than a wink and a
$40,000.
shake.
As
He
far
kept
as
saying it would be
financial-
taken care of.
And
He didn't
it
want to
was.
give you up. Do you know what I mean? Like saying
Yeah.
Gene's gonna take it, you know, he wasn't gonna give you up in this meeting and say,
That's
Gene's gonna pay for it.
Not
Now
gonna
that you're here saying that you're
I'm committed to
committed,
make it happen. I'm not committing that I'm gonna spend every penny
Yeah.
on it.
Right.
yeah.
But I'm willing to help. I'm willing to make it
Yeah.
happen. We have the excavation equipment and crew. We can do what excavation needs done. You know,
This is the first
Well,
we've heard that.
we have the ability to put lights in, as some of you know. We have the ability to install lights and light things up.
None of
You
us
know
have
that.
ever, none of us have ever heard
Never
this.
heard
Can I make a
This is
suggestion?
Well,
Because I feel like this could be a great
I'm tired,
thing.
I'm tired of people not knowing.
Yeah.
So I don't want them to know, but I do know. The lights up here behind the fire company, how do you think they came from?
The whole town knows you did it.
Oh, well.
I'm just saying, what?
I did.
The whole town knows.
There's more than that.
That's another thing that
So-
Mr. Nicholas has done for the park company. I'm not gonna mention other things because I don't think he wants me to.
But, no, I really, like I told you, I'm a very private individual. I do what I do, and I do it because I want to do it, not because I feel I have to. And I don't need somebody patting me on the back. I'm just okay with doing it. My wife is too, and that's the way we do things.
Right.
Gene, the problem comes when, and I really respect you, Jaime, but the council's not willing to have you say that you'll do this if it's not in writing.
Yeah.
We got right down to the step of paying for this contract and said that the money would be in the bank in 2 days, and the council rejected it because it wasn't on paper.
Word of mouth.
So
Well,
we can
Larry
sit here.
even said to do it.
We can
Larry
sit
said
here all
don't do
night.
it.
We can sit here all night and say, yeah, we'll take care of it, and I respect you, Gene, that you say you take care of it.
That's right.
But the council's saying, if it's not in black and white,
Yep.
it's, they voted not to do it.
So I respect what Gina's doing, but the
All I
lawyer
can
even
tell
said,
you is that
gotta be
if my
right.
word isn't good enough, the community will suffer, and there's no reason the community
I
should
wish they would've,
suffer because of some screwball idea.
We tried to explain that.
I wish they would have accepted that when we had a
So,
donor.
The other thing I can tell you, and you'll find it out probably within a year, there is a foundation, it's called the Sugar Valley Community Foundation, that has already been founded. And it's gonna be available to this valley and this valley only. And within the year, by all the bylaws and everything will be done, it should be active. But it's already been active, as you already know.
Right,
Because you've seen the checks from them.
right.
And so is that foundation something that might be able to help with the maintenance costs that the
Yeah.
borough seems to be concerned about?
It will accept applications.
See, if all this stuff would have been known, it
It's
probably went through.
designed for the valley.
That's exactly right.
It's designed to help people,
All we wanted was a little
With
bit of
emergency
transparency and a whole lot of
situations
honesty, and
with,
we didn't get either.
maybe a tragedy in the family, whether it be an infant.
The whole thing was,
A fire.
he wanted to stay
It's
anonymous
designed
for
to
all
take
this.
care of
I
this.
wasn't giving him up. He's giving himself up.
If that's the case, then
I said, you want to
and I,
remain anonymous for all this, and I
I've
wasn't.
never done
yeah.
this, and you know why, that's not me, but,
Right.
you know, and I'm sorry, Dave, but my word isn't good enough.
It is good enough for me.
Gene, don't, it's not mine.
I do business
Council, we ran into
all
that.
over the country and actually all over the world that most people don't know. And most of it's on a handshake and everybody takes my word.
Yes.
So,
you know, and I don't mean this to be disrespectful at all, but if that's how you felt, you should have created something that had your name not on it, but you were backing it, like your own foundation.
oh,
You know what I mean? I'm
you
not.
It's
you
not
obviously
Valley
weren't paying
Foundation.
attention.
Yeah, I heard what you said, but I'm saying if you wanted to do the part the way you just said, you should have just did it without having your name on it, but backing it.
If we had
Push
said it
all
was the Sugar, if it had said the Sugar Valley Foundation, none of us would have known, you know, it was him. We were, oh, cool, there's a foundation.
Believe me, you would.
Yeah.
It's neutral, but I'm not from around here, so, like, I live here, but like, I.
One thing I want to mention, the money that was donated to pay the engineer was not Mr. Nicholas. It was another citizen that, you know, it would come out, but right now, there's a motion on last month's books to turn this land back over to Nicholas and him sell it. What's council want to do?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Because I feel like there's a lot of, again, here, is there a way for either Gene and the council to meet, I don't know if this is legal or not, or the committee to keep the council more apprised of what's going on? I think you'll get further. You know, you can't just lead the horse to water. You can't just.
And I agree. And that, I agree with you 100% when things are happening. Nothing has happened to this point.
Well, but I'm hearing you say that $30,000 wasn't coming from Gene, but they're questioning, again, sorry, Dave can't see me, the paperwork. I think if they would have had this meeting last month with everyone, with the borough members, I think you would have gotten a lot further and it wouldn't have been shut down right away.
In February,
I
we
think
were
they would have
told,
all felt better.
yeah, in February, we were told there was just the day before, January 31st, Myron and Dave, I believe, and Helen were in attendance to the Sugar Valley Concerned Citizens meeting. They had applied or had given the grant for the borough for two things, for outdoor banners and for the price of the engineer. So we were told at that meeting, if We did not get the grant from the Sugar Valley Concerned Citizens. Mr. Nicholas, your name was mentioned, and that you had made a comment that we were to go forward with the park, it would be taken care of, one way or the other. If the Concerned Citizens did not, our understanding was you would step up. Am I wrong, members? Is that what you heard at that meeting?
I believe the next one was redacted though. Wasn't it redacted later?
So it was kind of a win-win situation. We can't lose here. But it's going to be Sugar Valley Concerned Citizens or Mr. Nicholas. Then there became secrecy and deadlines, and I feel everyone just didn't really know what was going on. And then now you're saying it wasn't Mr. Nicholas, it was another donor
Right.
from last
We're
month. Okay,
we're
so
learning more tonight.
I told you that last meeting.
Yeah.
I told you it was an anonymous donor. I wasn't telling you till they donate the money.
Well, here's the
We're
thing.
aware now that we must make it public information when it happens, but till that money's in the bank, we're not telling you where it's coming from.
We've learned more tonight than we've
I
learned in a
promise
year.
you that in this project, if there's something needed, you can tell them where it's coming from. Where I've asked you to secrecy before,
Right.
when we did something.
Why can't we put
And
3 new
and
members on the committee?
all the people that have been involved.
Why can't we put 3 new members, have a new committee then?
Well, I think, like I said before, we should relook at it and just do it in a different format. We should do it in a different way where there's transparency, where people know what's going on. I said that in the last meeting.
But, okay, what format do you want to do it in?
Well, we need to do a cost analysis, there needs to be a delineation study, we need to know which way we're headed. We don't need to lock dead on and this is the only grant we can do. We need to look at other ones, there's all kinds of other grants out there.
Yeah.
And we need to explore some of that before we start signing contract after contract after contract. That's all I've said all along. We need to look at it from the right format. We didn't even know that Concerned Citizens denied their grant until the last meeting. And we've been through this about the transparency. Everybody agreed we're gonna, huh? That was the last meeting.
Two meetings.
No, it was last month.
Because we told you we would tell you where the money was.
No, last month, you told us in the meeting and got denied because we asked. And I said, why weren't we told? And Ryan sat there and read and told you the date it was sent.
Okay, then you have to do this delineal study and all this kind of stuff. How are you going to determine what it's going to cost next year to update this when you don't have a clue what you're building?
You don't, but you can do a forecast. He doesn't build stuff at his place without getting some kind of a relative ballpark cost to what it's going to be.
Well, we're going to get a cost what it's going to be.
Are we?
What's the cost?
What's going to cost?
We've learned more tonight.
That's part of the.
What do you think this guy was going to do?
We
Just collect the money and go and sit down. It's an engineer that's going to come up with the
I'm
plan.
not going to argue with you. We've already been through all this.
Well, why don't, I have a recommendation. Let the president appoint a new committee. Diane can be the chairman, Chris and Danny can serve on the
I
committee.
have to agree to that.
And then there'll be three new members, and Diane can be the chair, and Chris and
I will
Danny
have
can.
to agree to that in November.
Well, you don't have to, but that's the president's, it's his desire. That's his desire. Somebody else could probably handle it better than.
I mean, I detect sarcasm and not genuineness, and that's not how a borough should work as a team.
Well,
Okay, from the mayor, I respect more than sarcasm. I mean, come on.
just,
Okay, the first thing is, there's a motion on the books from last month.
That was already done. That was motion, seconded, and everything to kill it.
So somebody
That's
can make
what
a
I'm saying.
motion.
Now, you made the
We can
motion,
restart it,
you made the motion, and who seconded it last month?
Bob.
If you two agree, if you rescind your motion from last month and he agrees, the property is still ours, and then we can move forward from that point. But there's no sense moving forward if you're not gonna rescind that motion and we're giving the property back.
If I rescind that motion, are we going back to the old way we were doing it, no transparency?
How do you want it? Do you want to hire an engineer? What do you want to do? I'll tell you this right now. I talked to the engineer. He still has time to develop this park, and he says, I don't have to do a DCNR grant. There's other places out there he could do the
That's
granting.
exactly what I said. There's other places that you sat right here and said there is no other grants available.
Like he's saying, no, there's no guarantees.
None of
The
them.
DCNR grant is more guaranteed than the other ones he's got.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying, we need to decide what you want to do. The first thing is the property ours or is it Jamie's?
So-
That's the first
So
thing.
would there be harm in like looking, I mean, you might just have to go out the road a half a mile to get the grant you need, right? So I mean, yeah, you can look, I mean, you know, and has anyone talked to the Clinton County Planning Department to see if they know of grants for Parks and Rec?
Nobody's done anything.
Yes, we did talk to them.
We never knew it.
We never got any information from them, that's why.
Well, transparency is the key word.
And there's lots of things you guys knew. You knew we met with the soil conservation about the wetlands. The only thing that actually happened. That's the only thing that actually happened, other than meeting with the engineer.
I feel a whole lot better about it now with Gene coming here and saying what he's saying, because none of what he's saying has ever been conveyed to us.
That's because everything was secret before.
Well,
But no one would take word of mouth. But all of a sudden now we're going to.
Larry said you do not take word of mouth.
That's right.
Carla said it.
Yeah.
But you still want to do that.
Yeah. You heard it said right there. You're not willing to take what came out of Gene Nicholas's mouth?
Larry, your own solicitor said.
Is if I'm putting this for sale sign up or if I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all.
Your solicitor told you to make sure everything is
Thank you.
black and white. Did he not? Did Larry say you
He
need
said
to
it's
have
good business
contracts?
to have everything in black and white. But
Exactly.
you heard it right out of the man's mouth.
Everything he does is on contracts. Everything. You don't do,
So I think Gene wants to be respected by this community.
yeah.
And he has, you know, 30 witnesses here, whatever,
Yeah.
who heard him say what he said.
Mhm.
A lot of you learned some information that you hadn't heard before.
There's exactly it.
And I think it sounds like some of the decisions that were made out of fear and assumptions. And I understand that it would be really nice if Gene would put all of this in writing, because I'm sure everything else in his life is in writing. But, you know, please consider rescinding your motion.
I'll make a motion that we rescind giving him back the property.
But keep the rest of the motion.
With, we look at doing things the right way. We go about it a little different and we're total transparent, and this whole group makes the decisions. A committee is formed, like I said last time. A committee is to find information, bring it back to the council, and let council decide it. This committee before was making all the decisions and the rest of us knew nothing. That's what I'll say. It needs to be transparent. The whole group needs to make a decision, not a committee.
Chris, how about there's no committee of three, then the committee, the whole council is the committee.
The whole council is the committee, absolutely.
That's fine. Bobby?
That wasn't, we weren't trying to,
No.
we weren't trying to do anything wrong, Chris.
I'm not saying that. I never said that. I said I'm asking for transparency. That's all.
If you guys are trying to do anything wrong,
fucking sidewalks are terrible.
in the last meeting, there was a conversation brought up that there was a private conversation that was made public at the
I
meeting,
got an idea.
where a council member who was also on the committee was told they knew the contract was wrong, but they presented it anyway.
You tried it. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Do the contract with what?
There was a comment made about, we know the contract's wrong, but it was done anyway.
Contract was wrong.
Yeah,
What do you mean it's wrong?
that's Kellen.
Didn't say it was wrong.
We can't hear what you're saying.
I did not say it was wrong.
Okay,
The person I was talking to said it was wrong.
so you're saying the person, that's her words? Okay. Well, whatever, that's water under the bridge.
So, okay, you made that motion.
I'll make a motion to rescind giving him back the property, okay? But from every step forward, the group makes decisions with
Together.
full information.
That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And, I think you need to put it, didn't it, someone have last that motion because you put in there to scratch the whole park project.
I said we need to have a letter that scratched that original contract null and void. And we still don't have that.
Nullify the first contract.
And we're still on the hook for $27,000.
We're still not on the hook for nothing.
They just told
Do
me,
you
you
have
just
it?
said earlier in this meeting that no, there's nothing owed, it's all canceled, nothing.
Do we have something that says that?
You will.
Because Larry's the one that said you have to have that. Am I wrong, Dave?
So was the
That's right, yeah,
contract
you said
with
that,
the
yeah.
engineer or
Huh?
the engineer's firm?
Yes, and that was because we had originally planned, I think, the two properties, it was like 27,000-ish, I think, and that's what
Yeah.
the concerned citizens were gonna pay for, so
Like
long as
26,980 and,
the concerned citizens were willing to pay for it as long as we had signed contracts for both
The donor,
properties.
Chris, was
then
ready
it fell
for
through.
$35,000.
what donor?
Well, I know that because everybody poo-pooed that. They said, oh, some mysterious person and everything. And I mean, I can sit here all night, but the money would have been in the bank. The money would have been in the bank. There's no doubt about it.
Larry's the
But
one that
I
told you
understand
you
Larry
have to
said-
be
yeah.
out forward with the group on who's doing what.
I understand. And
I'm asking you to just follow what your
Yeah.
own solicitor told you.
That's right. I understand, Chris. And I'm just saying, the reason there was 3 on the committee was so that things could be expedited. It wasn't to try to pull something shady. That's what I think
But-
that everybody's like trying to make it like, this committee of 3 was trying to.
They were making decisions
Well,
without us
that-
knowing about
there were
it.
some
And
things
then the committee was even forming.
Hindsight's
There were
2020.
some things that could have been done better, Chris.
Yeah,
I agree.
that's what I'm saying.
But I just wish people wouldn't have the idea that the committee was trying to arrange something for themselves or, or something like that. I think we could move ahead if we.
I think we could too, but it's gotta be transparent, Dave.
It will be harder to get the whole group together to make decisions and everything, but that's fine.
We have email, we can email out other stuff.
It'll be okay.
May I say something?
I don't see the one about.
Michelle has something to say.
Is there an opportunity to contact Mrs. Scaff and ask her if she would be willing to reconsider? Start over with a clean slate. Back everything back to step 1 and do this the right way with all of you involved and all of you attempting to reach the same common goal with community involvement as well.
I'll ask her.
I mean, you have the opportunity here. You can start all over right now.
Only if she meets with the whole council, not with the committee.
Yeah,
I'm sure, I mean, I can't speak for Mrs. Scaff, but I'm pretty sure she'd be willing to do that for sure.
I don't want any part of a 3-part committee anymore.
I think that's the best news I've heard all night is we can make it everybody so everybody knows what's going on.
I don't see it in there.
what?
How you made that motion last
I
night.
made the motion.
Right, let me read what I see.
Yeah.
You made a motion to put the park on hold till we can see what the long-range cost and all that stuff is.
And you didn't like that. You
Yeah.
wanted a different motion.
Well, that's in there.
Mhm.
Then another one, you made a motion to drop the park until we know what we're getting into.
He's requesting that council obtains a letter from the engineer to ensure that we do not owe him any money. He wants to ensure that the gift agreement with Nicholas becomes null and void and the property reverts to the previous owner and the borough is not paying the taxes.
Right.
So that's the motion you want to rescind.
I will rescind the part of giving.
You can't rescind part of a motion. You
Yeah,
gotta.
you can.
Huh?
Yeah, you can.
Revise it with paper.
I'm revising it. I'm still gonna stick on, we need a letter of null and void on that first contract.
Yes, you'll have it,
Robert's Rules of Order, if you want to rescind something, it has to be, I think maybe the person that made it might have to be.
Yes.
And it takes a 2/3 majority for it
To pass it.
to pass.
Yes. So that's why I said I would make a motion to hold on to Gene's property and to restart this as a group, not a committee. And the stipulation of a letter stating the first contract is null and void stands.
So do we need to rescind this motion or can we just make a new one? Then make a new one?
We're revising it.
I don't know Robert's rules completely, but maybe if you, can you revise it? Because you could just
We already
cancel
approved
it
it.
all and
We
then.
already approved
The
it.
problem is that if he
Okay.
cancels it all and then tries to do
You
it
need
again,
to
and you don't
rescind
agree,
that motion and
it's
then
gone.
different parts you can put in different motions.
Okay, I'll rescind the motion on the property reverting to Gene and on the engineer. But we're going to make that motion stick, we're gonna do it as a group.
That would be in your new motion.
Okay.
Just rescind this, and Bobby, do you agree to rescind that motion? Okay. Yeah, the motion that Chris and Bobby made last month is rescinded. Now.
Okay, now I'm gonna say, we keep the property from Gene.
Yeah.
We discuss it as a group with Marilyn and let her know what's up. Then, we still need a letter, null and void, from the engineer for that first contract that was signed. And before we sign a new one, we're gonna get together and sit and talk.
Basically, yeah, just put in there that the park committee will consist of all of council.
All of council, yes.
Okay, and that covers everything that you just rescinded.
Okay.
Anyone have any problem with that? Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Bobby, second. Bobby, second that. Okay, does everyone understand that now? You want to read that back?
Chris Staff rescinds the motion made last month, and now makes a motion to keep the property from Gene, discuss with the group, discuss with Marilyn, receive a letter from the engineer to ensure his first contract is null and void, and that the park committee will now consist of every council member.
Is that right?
And that no new contracts are signed without total council approval.
So that would be, yeah, we do the whole council's
Yeah.
committee, so.
You all right with that, Bobby?
Okay, any questions before we approve it? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. So, is there any other discussion on that?
Are you okay with whenever Gilbert gets a hold of me forwarding this on to him so he can look at it? So he knows what he's signing? So he can look at it.
Didn't he ever get a copy of that?
No, I've not sent him one.
Do you have his email? Leave Sam's email it to him.
Okay.
But that way he can make a point to come
We can
down
do
here
that.
and sign it because like you said, he needs to sign it.
Yeah.
If we want to put this into effect today.
Well, he needs to read it before he signs it.
Right,
I mean,
right, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying, we can forward it to him.
Yeah, she can send it, that way he can read it, and then he can come down and sign it. Okay. Anything else? Website, there was nothing. Do we want to set a meeting up for, ordinances?
Yeah.
Now, does that have to be a public meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
It's not a work session?
Everything is public meetings from this point forward,
Okay.
advertised.
Yep.
How about next Thursday? Is that, and this is our whole committee?
Now, Thursday will not be, if we schedule it, that will not give me enough time to have it advertised.
Well, this is not the park now, is it? Is it?
No, this
It's
is
ordinance.
This is the ordinance. How about the 17th?
I won't be here, but that's okay. You guys, go ahead.
That's just the next week.
Yeah,
Yes, I'm not sure either, I might be in North Dakota. Don't know yet till next week.
well, everybody's gonna have to get their schedules together.
How many days do you need to advertise?
It typically is at least 7,
Okay.
at least a week. Make it the 11th.
I don't think we want to meet on Friday night.
No.
No. Monday's meeting.
I cannot do Tuesdays for the next 6 weeks.
Okay.
I have a class.
Almost has to be a Wednesday or a Thursday. And the 16th is out for me.
Okay. You want to go with Wednesday the 16th?
I can't do that night.
Okay, so then just schedule Thursday the 17th.
Okay. What, 5, 6?
What time did we meet the last time? 6
6.
o'clock?
Yeah.
But Sam, did you set us on enough time to advertise?
If it's
That-
17th,
The
it is.
17th.
Yes.
August 17th at 6 p.m. We're having a ordinance work session.
You don't have to be here for that.
What if I'm not here? You're not here then? Okay.
For those, do you just pick certain ordinances you're working on, or do you just work in order? Like, how are you guys doing that?
We were kind of going through the book in order. We went, what, a third of the way through it, I'd say?
Not there.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, something like that. We got the big ones, the harder ones to work on. But after listening to Larry, a lot of that verbiage that we were changing in a lot of those ordinances to include constable and not the mayor, he said that's no big deal. We don't need to do that
We
stuff.
don't need to do it.
No.
Well, we should leave the part in there about current court costs and people being responsible for that.
Yeah, change that, but as
Yeah.
far as the verbiage for constable versus him, he said no. You don't
Right,
need to
no,
do
I
that.
didn't think we had to.
No. All right, so the 17th. And you advertise that as, how do you advertise that? Why I'm asking these questions, Chris, is if you talk to your mother and she wants to meet, we could use that meeting as that. If we don't have to advertise what the meeting is in the paper. You know what I'm saying? You ever want to understand what I'm doing?
Yeah, that's the shade.
So the way I advertised last time was Loganton Borough Council will be holding a work session on Tuesday, July 25th, in Loganton Borough Municipal Building at 6 p.m. for the purpose of discussing ordinance revision, snow removal for the upcoming winter season, and any other borough business council deems necessary.
I actually would ask that Janine, David, and Mom come to a borough meeting and discuss it.
Yeah, I think maybe it might be better for a regular meeting rather than a special meeting.
Yes, I would not call a special meeting. I'd say, if you're interested, Mom, see what David's schedule is, see what Janine's is, because I have to abstain from all of it. I got nothing in it. But those three are the ones that make a decision. I want to park, but I'm not going to pressure her to do it.
So advertise that the same way that you advertised the last one for the 17th, 6 p.m.
Does she need the snow removal thing?
No, you can drop that.
Drop the snow.
Was the last one for the 25th in the paper? Did it get advertised?
It got advertised, and then they advertised that it was gonna be postponed, that was canceled on further notice.
Okay. I don't get the paper, that's why I was wondering.
Anything else under discussion? Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
We're out of here.
Need a second?
Second. Need a aye.